About 19 years ago, my wife sat me down on one of our couches in our living room and said to me the words that have changed my life. Honey, we're going to have a baby. Stunned in silence, finally I uttered out the words that I regret to this day. I need to go cut the grass.
Yes.
I wouldn't recommend that as a response, but you have to understand, I wasn't ready for Jay. Not quite 8 months later, my wife nudged me and said, "It's time, the baby's coming." How could this be? Our child was supposed to be a Christmas baby, and here it was the middle of November. The nursery wasn't finished, the crib wasn't built, and more importantly, I wasn't ready for Jay. Call it impatience or precociousness, Jay wasn't waiting. Premature or not, Jay was anxious to start life. All 4.5 pounds of her could not be on someone else's schedule. But that was and is Jay. I could tell you many adorable stories about Jay growing up, and there aren't many, but we don't have that much time. Or I could tell you all the trouble that she caused and she was in when she was growing up. But really, besides some minor bruises on her younger brother, there weren't many instances. I will tell you that she has fascinated us, she has perplexed us, she has humored us, and certainly she has entertained us over the past 18 years. I will tell you that Jay is dear to me and dear to her mother, and even to her brother, although he may not always admit it. I will tell you that we are so very proud of Jay as a daughter and as a student, but more importantly, as a person. I will also tell you that the world had better be prepared because, ready or not, Jay is on her way. So it's my great pleasure to present to you my daughter, Jay Claire Heckinger.
Thank you, Daddy. My mother always said that when I was younger, I dressed according to twirl factor. By this she means that my dresses had to pass a spin test, in which I would spin in circles and see just how full my skirts would become. Allow me to demonstrate. Arms go up, and out, and spin. I assure you, the Hutchison uniform fails miserably when compared to the skirts of my childhood. For the first 6 or 7 years of my life, I rarely wore anything else. When I was old enough to dress myself, I refused the pants and shirt combination, instead choosing from an array of dresses that had succeeded in reaching my expectation of spin perfection. However, though I was dressed as a good little girl, I often did not live up to my looks. I remember on one occasion, in kindergarten, I decided to test the sharpness of some scissors on my dress. It was one of my favorites, white and blue striped, and I, devastated, came up with the tale that the whole had been created through an unforeseeable and unstoppable sequence of events involving a battle between my dress and a horrible villain of a nail on the playground. Mom, I don't think I ever told you what really happened. Sorry. Needless to say, my wild ways soon made me discard my dresses in search of something new. Rid of my confinement to the frillier side of life, I soon found my true calling. I was bold. I was daring. I was wild. I was a tomboy. Tomboydom was a very memorable part of my childhood, starting around the 3rd grade. Before this, I had had a passion for pink, as evidenced by my pink room, bed sheets, quilt, dolls, clothes, and playthings. One Christmas, however, every single item I received, at least it seemed like that in my 8-year-old mind, was pink, from my real life-size baby doll to my umbrella. I think this experience traumatized me for life and was a significant push to the other extreme. In 3rd and 4th grade, I shunned friends of my own gender in favor of members of the male species. I wore guys' clothes, hand-me-down t-shirts with clever little slogans like, "Keep staring, maybe I'll do a trick." And I cut my hair. When I was younger and would get a haircut, I would walk through the door and my dad would call out, "Hey, Bob!" in reference to my hairstyle. I loved my dad, but grew tired of this frequent embarrassment. My hairdresser and I came up with the perfect snarky comment to stop my dad from using his humiliating greeting. I walked through the door, hair completely gone, just barely curling around my ears, and in response to my dad's cry of, "Bob!" I replied, proudly, "It's not a bob, it's a modified shack." I lived happily through lower school and part of middle school, satisfied with my extreme form of tomboyness, even when mistaken not a small number of times for a boy, occasionally by my own family. There's a family video of my brother learning to ride a bike that we were watching recently, and someone called out, "Hey, who's that weird-looking boy in the background?" Puzzled, we zoomed in. That weird-looking boy was me. But as I grew older, there was one unforeseen thing that stopped me in my tracks. Boys themselves. Sure, I had encountered boys before, having been happily married for 4 years to the cutest little freckle-faced boy in the 3rd grade class. But now I discovered the horror of a middle school crush. I won't name any particular names for fear of traumatizing them, but I'm sure my fellow Lucers remember well my few aggressive and violent crushes. I became well acquainted with the term unrequited love. Oh yes, as much as I would have liked to forget it, I was a girl. This fact, as well as the fact that I was a true and utter romantic at heart, it became blazingly apparent as middle school went on. I was, to put it bluntly, horrified. If this is what being a girl was, I had obviously made some mistake at birth. I wanted to be sensible, cool, calm, collected, not emotional. But I had read one too many books, seen one too many movies, and now I was caught in the trap. Shakespeare had gotten to me. I wanted a Romeo, Juliet, Miranda, Ferdinand, Benedict Beatrice kind of love. I was back, once again, to being 5 years old, to dress up in silly idealistic notions about life. I struggled through my early teens to find some congruency between my romantic girl side and my boy side, which did not rely on such base things as emotion, but thrived on action. I wasn't a girly girl, but I certainly wasn't a boy, and wasn't really a tomboy either. How frustrating it was to be in this other category, to have a daily battle between my two sides. Then, one day, it hit me. Why did the two parts of my personality have to be in discord? Who said I had to fit a label? From then on, slowly and surely, I became myself. I wasn't a teenage girl overwhelmed with emotions. I wasn't a wild child abandoning all things civilized. I was a mix of the two. Instead of giving in completely to one side of my personality at a time, I allowed my differences to work together, and act that has made me into the unique specimen who stands before you. I haven't lost my childish joy of finding beauty in the world around me and beauty in myself. And I haven't lost the pure excitement I get in seeking action and joining in, and I haven't lost my rebel side, the one that made me stand out from the crowd and double pierce my own ears. Who says girls have to wear pink and play with dolls? I'm a block kind of girl myself. I, an 18-year-old girl, can choose to wear what I want, eat what I want, and do what I want, even if it is not considered the appropriate thing for someone of my femininity to do. I can wear high-top red chucks and sparkly t-shirts. I can be on the stage and on the track field, grunting and throwing heavy objects. I can accept nicknames from JJ to Hoss. And, if I want to, I can even have late-night lightsaber fights in the CVHS parking lot and win. As a high schooler, I have grown exponentially from the days when I chose to be defined by the terms girly girl and tomboy. I have found a group of friends, both guys and girls, who do not shun me, most of the time, despite my quirks, my constantly shoeless feet, my horrible storytelling skills, my never-ending singing and humming, and my rejection of boundaries, both social and personal. I've never had much of a bubble. I don't put a lot of stock in conventions, choosing classic rock over pop and prime rib over salad. The guys have just had to get used to me hanging around at band practice in spite of the never-failing call of, "Hey, who invited the chick?" They know I could beat them up if I really wanted to. A friend of mine described me to the best of her ability. "You see," she said, "Jay likes to dress up and look pretty, like a girl, but then she goes and acts like a boy. I'm the girl who wears a dress to church and then jumps on the trampoline. I don't do this merely to disturb my mother, but because I have decided to never let anything stop me from doing what I want, not even high heels. What is the point of life if all you do is watch? I will eat what I want, even if everyone chooses something else. Wear what I want, even if it's not the fashion. Dance when I want, even if it is in the middle of the hallway. And love who I want, even if people tell me not to. I think you have to live to your full capacity in every moment of every day. And if that means taking off your shoes and walking around barefoot sometimes, then that's what I'll be doing." Thank you. Great job, Jay.